A trip abroad can be a tough task, especially when it comes to getting Forex at the best rates. BookMyForex.com, the startup we're featuring today, attempts to stem some of that inconvenience. It's an online marketplace for retail foreign exchange and private remittances. Nitin Motwani is joining us today. Nitin, if you could take us through a little bit more about BookMyForex. When did you start, and what are some of the things that the app attempts to do?
Yeah, sure, of course. First of all, thanks for having me on the show, Abba. BookMyForex was started around the end of 2012. It was a very different model when we started, though. The core idea at that time was just to bring foreign exchange online. So the core inspiration to get into this business was that everything else that was in travel was online. We're talking back in 2012 when even e-retail wasn't that mainstream. The only thing that was really online was travel. Like, you could book your tickets online, you could book hotels online, you could even do a whole lot of other things like you can book cabs online, things of that sort, or car rental. But the money that buys all of that wasn't online. So the idea was to bring an inherently travel-related business online. So that's how we started off. But as we've gone along, we made the model much more solid. When we started, we just had one player on our platform. We only did a tie-up with Axis Bank, and the idea was to reach basically use internet as a medium to reach everybody in India. That certainly that idea by itself had merits, but I believe as we've gone along over the past couple of years, we've added even more value propositions, which has made us successful over the last few years.
Right, fair enough. I just want to understand, in terms of the kind of plans you have going forward as well, what are some of the avenues you're exploring for growth? Take us through, what the business outlook is looking like for you.
Sure. So before I even do that, I would probably want to touch upon what we do at the moment. As you rightly mentioned, we are a foreign exchange marketplace. We're the first Forex marketplace in the world, actually. And if you think about it, the currency exchange space is one which has, the market itself is flawed in many, many different ways. And if I was to talk about a few of the flaws, first of all, there is no transparency in this market. It's completely opaque. The rates that you see, you see rates that vary very widely across different vendors. So if you go to you walk down a street, you go into 10 different money exchange shops, or you go into a bank, you'll see 10 different rates. And typically what you would see is that these rates are just pinned on a pin board or shown on an LED board, and they don't change the whole day. But in reality, in the background, Forex rates are actually changing every second. So the reasons that Forex rates don't change in these traditional brick and mortar stores is because they typically add a lot of margin onto their core to the rate at which they procured the currencies. As a result, they're able to deal with intraday fluctuations. So what we do in turn is we actually make this entire market very transparent by using live rates, and then adding a very, very small margin on top of that. Which essentially allows us to give much better value to customers. So that's one core issue with this industry, which is that it's opaque. The other problem with this industry is that it's very fragmented. There is no market leader in this space, and you have thousands of different mom and pop stores who are dealing in this kind of service, and they all have varying quality of standards in terms of service, and they also there's also a huge issue of the way people carry this business out. There's a lot of unethical and unscrupulous players in the market. So BookMyForex was designed to kind of tackle all of those problems. Despite having all these issues, the currency exchange space hasn't seen any technological innovation, and so we thought that this is an industry which is ripe for tech innovation, and it could really be reformed and disrupted using technology, essentially. Now, talking about what you were saying earlier about our growth plans and everything, so we are focusing on our core market right now, which is our B2C market. Apart from that, we're also we will be launching very shortly a lot of B2B focused products for specific kind of businesses. Over the summer months, we have certain plans which I cannot disclose at the moment, which should help us gain a significantly higher market traction and a much higher market share. So you'll probably see that as it comes along in the next few months.
Out of time, so just very quickly, you've also struggled as a startup in terms of getting things going. Any lessons you want to leave some entrepreneurs out there who are watching with from your experiences, that you've had?
Sure. I would say one of the things that I would highly recommend is that you should try to go for product market fit very quickly. So try new things and test them out in the market very quickly. So do a whole rapid iteration kind of an approach. That's one of the things that if I had to go back and do things a little bit differently, we would have probably moved on to this marketplace model a bit faster. If I had actually taken my own advice, basically. So that's one thing. The other thing that I would suggest, and which is key, and I'm sure it's almost cliche now, but it's so true that I have to say it, is that you have to work on your team. You got to hire the right people. You got to be able to, because you can't do everything yourself, right? You have to get the right kind of talent on board. So it makes sense to invest in hiring the right talent.
All right, and then we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today. That's all from us on Countdown. We'll have to leave it there. Thanks for watching.